All right.
Hey, Sheena.
Hey, Sheena.
Hey, Joey.
I'm gonna just meet and greet here while Jamie's doing technical stuff so that
Yeah.
she can focus on what she's doing. But
Yep.
as always, such a pleasure to see you, Sheena, your smiling face and your amazing hair. I always love your hair. It makes
Um,
my day. You and Lorraine, I haven't seen Lorraine in ages, but Lorraine also, she every time I met with her, she'd have a different hair going on, different style going on. I loved it. It was great. All great variety. And there's Leslie coming in. So we're gonna dive in here. We're at the top of the hour or pretty close to it. And
yep.
uh daily
Delay,
delay.
Delete.
delay.
Delete.
Dali. Okay, thank you, Dali, for the pronunciation help there. I appreciate it. So I'm Mark. This is Jamie. We're going to dive right in and get to today's call. Just as a little preface to the session today, this is our weekly call. So you're welcome to join us every week. At least those who are guests are welcome to join us for the interim. We're not sure how long we're going to keep it open to guests because this is a client call that we decided let's do a combo here. We'll kind of let everybody in and we'll play in the sandbox together and have this as a get together for everybody involved. So we're going to go from a learning module, and then from there, we're going to kick everybody off who's not a client, and we go straight into our client implementation call where we go heavy and deep with any of the issues that our current clients are having right now. So that's a little preface. Let me just get my slides going here.
And while Mark does that, I've got us live on Facebook in our group. And I just wanted to mention everybody's muted, just so that we don't interrupt, the training. But at the end, we're going to open it up. So if you have questions, comments, and play in the sandbox, because Mark likes it to be interactive, I do too. You'll put some comments into the chat for us, and then we'll open it up at the end to let you open your mic and free discussion. So
exactly. Right on. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah.
So today's topic is building better connections, how to discover and confirm your audience's burning desires. And just so that you know, as a little background to put this contextually, this is actually in phase 3, step 8. Jamie, I revised.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is I'm always doing this to Jamie where I'll flip a topic or whatever on her and we'll move things around. But we always want to keep it in context so it makes sense to our guests as well as our clients, that we're not going, on wild tangents here, that we're staying focused on topics and content that's really going to work for you. So this is phase 3, step 8 in the 9-step method, and just a small portion of it. So we're
Mark,
not going
do you want to share your screen?
Am I not sharing my screen?
No.
Well, that kind of messed things up a bit, didn't it?
I had a feeling. I'm like, you're talking about where we're
I'm
at.
talking. That's because I moved my other window out of the way and I had it covered and I couldn't see what I was doing. So let's start over, shall we?
Yeah.
How's that?
There it is.
Awesome. Is that better?
Yep.
Okay, now I got to find my screen. Thanks for your patience, everyone. And hopefully you get the idea too that this is the tone of our meetings and our calls and the way we work is we have fun, and that we're not too serious about ourselves or about anything else for that matter. We need to make light of heavy things sometimes. So welcome again to today's topic. And as Jamie just mentioned, don't just sit back and absorb. I know that's very easy with the internet these days, but I want to encourage you to step out of the bleachers and onto the field. Play with us. It's a safe environment. Don't be a spectator, be a participant. And you can do that by leaving your comments in the chat and what comes to you at time. And I'm gonna encourage you. I'm gonna be asking you some questions and getting you to participate. So please do that. And let's get started in terms of what we're going to cover today. So we're going to talk about how to know what motivates your audience. We're going to talk about what doesn't work. And not only that, but not only can it repel your prospects, but can also have a major impact on you. It can actually really have an impact on your self-esteem. We want to talk about how to know what motivates your audience and what they're looking for. And we want to talk about how to tailor your messaging to meet the needs of your prospects. And that may seem like a mouthful and a lot, but I'm going to hopefully make it really simple for you and bring it all together in a way that you're going to go, wow, I can do that right away. I can implement that, make that happen today. So why is this important? Well, a little bit different this week. I want to share some quotes with you that I think exemplify why this topic is so important. Seth Godin said, when you seek to engage with everyone, you rarely delight anyone. President Theodore Roosevelt said, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. It's a really tried and true one, isn't it? And this last one, I'll take credit for. Only when you truly know what someone needs, wants, and values can you fully serve them. So let's pause for a minute here and throw a little bribe your way. We want you to stick around. We want you to stick around so that you get all of this contextually, and you understand, and you take away some valuable insights and some valuable action steps that you can do. And sometimes it's easy to get distracted and pulled away, or maybe to think that there are more urgent things. So we want to throw a little bribe your way. We want to give you a gift, as always. At the end, we're going to throw a gift your way that's going to really be powerful for you and helpful for you, something that maybe you would have paid for. So let me ask you this. When you look at this marionette here, which is really symbolic, it's part of what we do. It's one of our symbols that we use, one of our images that we use. How many of you feel like this when you're trying to build a relationship with a prospective client? Like maybe your strings are being pulled, that you're not sure what direction to go in. Are they in control? Are you in control? What are you really trying to achieve here? Does it feel like that sometimes when you're out of control? Not, hopefully not always, but maybe sometimes it does. Type yes in the chat for me if that's true for you, if that's something that you can identify with, and not something that's true all the time, but that it's something that maybe you go, yeah, boy, I hate it when things go like that, and I feel like I'm being pulled in a million different directions.
We've got yeses.
We got yeses.
Yep.
We can all identify with that, can't we? We can all identify when those conversations kind of go sideways or never really get off to a good start. So let's think about this for a moment. What if instead of feeling pulled in different directions, you started with the smallest group of people that could possibly sustain you and your work? It reminds me of a brief chat I was involved in on a group yesterday, and somebody was asking about the fear of speaking. And it reminds me of that because, if you think about it this way, if you're not a public speaker and you're not trained that way and you're not experienced that way, the idea of stepping out onto a stage and speaking to 1,000 people would be pretty unnerving, wouldn't it? And yet, wouldn't it be a lot easier and simpler and more comfortable to step into a group of 3 people and have a conversation? So what if you started small? What if you started there? And that may seem counterintuitive to many of you, particularly if you're new to business and you're new to the online sphere, because everybody's telling you, oh, there's millions of people out there. Well, how do you speak to millions of people? What if instead you started with the smallest group that could possibly sustain you in your work? If you could pick the members of this audience, who would you choose? This is really, really important. Think about the marionette doesn't pick and choose, do they? They let somebody else pull their strings. What about their dreams, their worldviews, their energy? Think about this for a minute. It's all up to you. You're the one that's in control. You don't have to be a marionette. What if you could pick them and then needed to delight them because you had no one else available? Would your program, would your services improve? Would your ability to deliver improve? I want to highlight that point. Needed to delight them. Not needed to sell them, not needed to push your ideas on them, but needed to delight them. Different perspective. How do you do that with 1 million people? What if you had no choice but to ignore the naysayers or the people who don't think they need you or your work? What if you just put those aside? Would that force you to stop compromising, to stop being pulled in different directions like a marionette, and actually to start excelling? So this is where it all begins. It begins with really understanding who and choosing who very specifically you want to work with. We call it, and we've taken this phrase from Seth Godin, the minimum viable audience. And by the way, this is something that we do, again, put this contextually. This is actually in phase 1, step 2 of the upscale method, is where we drill in and we help you identify your minimum viable audience. It's really, really important. I want to tell you just a little bit, give you a bit of an example to, again, put this into context for you. Many of you that have heard me speak before know that this is a story I like to tell. It's kind of like the difference between going to, you're driving down the road and you pop over and you go into one of those roadhouse restaurants that's kind of nondescript, and you walk in and the schleppy server comes over and gives you the Bible, which is their menu. And it's 16 pages long, and it has everything in there from breakfast through to dessert and sushi and steaks and hamburgers and everything else, and seafood and everything in between. It's the trying to be everything to everybody. And if you think about that, how do you delight people in a restaurant like that? You don't. You can't. Because there's no way your quality can be that good. There's no way a chef can be that good at cooking everything. There's no way that your quality of ordering can be good, because you got to have everything frozen in order to offer that many things. Now think about the steakhouse, the proverbial steakhouse. We all know them. We all have numerous ones in our town. How focused they are. What do we do here? We do steaks, and we do them really, really well. And there's usually a differentiation there too. What kind of steaks they do, maybe how they do them. Do they grill them maybe on real charcoal, maybe on gas? Maybe they do them a different way. But there's a uniqueness to what they do. There's a focus. There's a minimum viable audience that they're after. And that's the person who has a hankering for a steak. So think about that in terms of, as your wheels start to go about who your minimum viable audience is. And I know those of you who are clients on this call, good reinforcement for you, good reminder, stay focused. Sorry, I went a little too far here. I clicked, got a little too enthusiastic. Okay, I need somebody to play in the sandbox with me. Is somebody willing to role play with me? And I'll be kind, I'll be gentle. Anybody want to role play with me?
Haley.
Yay, Katie. Go ahead and open your mic, or maybe Jamie needs to do that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Kaylee,
Hi.
thank you so much for joining us and for stepping up and playing in the sandbox. I really appreciate it. So,
Sure.
Kaylee, tell me very briefly, what do you do?
Sorry. We just got off a call, so. Yeah.
I guide professional women who feel disconnected from their purpose to slay their inner critic and unleash their potential.
Fantastic. Okay, Kaylee, you know what? You should get really clear on what you want out of your business. And when you do that, then you need to get really clear on who you're going to serve and how you're going to offer that and how you're going to deliver that. And once you've done that, you ought to develop a process for consistently being visible so that people recognize you and know you. And then once you're consistently visible, then you really must master how to get into the whole space of consultative selling. Do you want to sign up and work for me, and I'll teach you how to do those things?
What? Are we playing in the sandbox still?
We're still playing in the sandbox.
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great. You were easy. Now, pause for a minute here with me, though, and play with the sand. How do you feel right now with that barrage of information?
It sounded like a lot.
A lot?
Yeah, if you could break it down a little bit. I completely understand, and I love your example of like a steakhouse compared to like a diner that offers everything. When you go to a diner, you expect diner food. When you go to a steakhouse, you expect exceptional steak. So I do want to be very precise in my audience.
Excellent. Okay, so let's go back into role play mode.
Okay.
Okay, and we're going to do an alternative approach here. Okay.
Okay.
So, Kaylee, when you're thinking about your coaching business and what you want to do, and that statement, that wonderful statement you just shared with me, When you're thinking about your business and how you're growing that, what would you say you need more than anything else at this time?
I need a target market. I need an audience.
Okay, fantastic. And if you were able to focus in and identify a target audience, that marketplace, is there anything in addition to that that you might want?
In addition to a target market?
Yeah. Thinking about your business.
Oh, I would like clients.
Okay. So now if you're thinking about that, okay, so you want this market, you want to zero in on that, you want clients, or you need that, you want clients. And then now if we kind of transition a little bit, thinking about your whole reasoning for wanting to be in the coaching space, what would you say you value most? What's most important to you?
Self-love. I just want people to know that they're worthy and to feel that they are divinely loved and that they have the power to heal themselves and to serve others. That's my true desire.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, stepping out of the role play. How does that feel?
Oh, it feels wonderful. It feels like I am fulfilling my purpose. If I'm able to do that for people, then I would be fulfilling my purpose.
Okay. Now, comparing our conversation versus the way I started to this alternative approach, what's different?
I'm
And
not
everybody
sure.
else can play in the sandbox here too. Please
What?
put in the chat if you notice what you notice different.
I'm not sure. Could you be more specific?
So when we started our little role play, I asked you one very brief question and you gave me a brief answer. And then I immediately told you what you should, ought, and must do. And then in the alternative approach, which we just kind of came through, I asked you a number of questions. And if we compare and contrast those two approaches, what does everybody observe to be different about those approaches?
So Leslie put in the chat, she said, made it about her, not your sale.
Right. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you, even those of you who are observing and watching Kaylee's body language and just the way she spoke and the tonality of her voice, did you notice how that changed? How different that was? So in the first interaction where I was shooting all over her, what was she like?
I hid. I actually went like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you didn't smile, I don't think. We'll have to look at the recording. But you actually, we withdrew a little.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed you moved backward.
Mm-hmm.
Your face was very rigid, like kind of concerned.
I felt embarrassed.
You felt embarrassed? Yeah.
I would like to say too, I think we were all uncomfortable in that first exchange. It's like, okay, Mark, you're going in, come,
Yeah.
program kind of thing, so it was a whole different vibe on the second go around of you wanted to know about her and what is it that she needs, wants, and desires, as we like to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at that now in the second interaction, who noticed what happened to her body language and her verbal cues there? She came alive, didn't she?
Yeah.
She started to smile. She moved in to the camera. You started to smile. You got very enthusiastic. Your face flushed a little as blood flowed to your brain and to your musculature around your mouth. And you got enthusiastic, you got kind of excited. If I could take your pulse, it probably went up a little bit. All of these things happen. Now, let me ask you this, all of you again, who was in control of that second conversation? You can go ahead and answer, Kaylee. Your mic's open.
Oh, okay. I was.
Yeah. Not really. I was.
Oh, you were.
Yeah. But you felt like you were.
Okay. Yes.
Right? Because I was asking the questions. Now, if we had gone further in that first example, you may very well have gone, whoa, and you did. You said, whoa, hold on a sec. You want to work with me? Like your first question was, are we still in the role play or not?
Yes.
I'm confused. It may now, if we had been in a real interaction, you might have gone, whoa, buddy, slow down.
Mm-hmm.
I got to ask you some questions. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you that. How much is it? You got any proof?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? Tell me exactly how you do it. You're going to get on the defensive. You're going to get assertive and aggressive in that first interaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because why? Because you want to get control.
Yeah.
But in the second interaction, you felt like you were in control. Why? Because I was giving you the space and honoring you by allowing you to be you and give me you.
Right.
So if my objective is to get to know you better, to build a relationship with you, to understand you better so that I can figure out how and when we can work together, then isn't that second interaction going to be a more powerful way to go?
Yes, definitely.
So let me suggest to everyone that it begins by changing our language. The way to effective relationship building, and this goes outside of this goes outside of and inside of everything. It's outside of sales, it's inside of everything. Doing this with children, doing this with a partner, doing this with a date or somebody you want to meet is powerful. So what I encourage everyone to do is release the shoulds, oughts, and the musts. And not only do I encourage you, and the reason I use release, the word release, I could have said don't say or don't use the words, but instead I said release. Does anybody know why I would use that? What would be the subtle difference there?
You're letting go of expectation.
Beautiful. Yeah, exactly. You're releasing the expectation and you're releasing. So not only the word itself, but that's a place to start. Watch your language. Catch yourself when you find yourself shoulding or oughting or musting on somebody. And you do this in the written word too. Be careful of this, but become aware of it. Because when we're using that kind of language, what we're doing is we're saying you should, ought, or must think like me.
Mm-hmm.
You should, ought, or must want what I'm offering. So we also release the thought. So the idea behind that, the idea behind having to should on somebody. So we want to release that judgment. We want to release that pressure. And we want to replace that with this concept of asking questions and getting good at the art of asking questions by finding out what people need, want, and value. Now, there's a reason I put need in brackets here. So I want to give a little background on why that's in brackets. It's in brackets because people, even though we ask the question, people think they know what they need. It's not what they need. And here's the proof for anything in life. If we knew exactly what we needed, then we wouldn't need it anymore because we'd already have what we wanted. So we think we need something, but really it's a want. But we need to, as people who want to help people discover, and this is where our profession comes in, and this is what's so important about what we do, is people are stuck in this place of thinking, if I only had this is what I need. If I only had $1 million, if I only had a perfect partner, if I only had a great job, then everything else would work. My life would be perfect. Not true. There's always something beyond that, and underneath that is a cause and effect relationship, if you will. So even though we ask the question, we listen to it, be aware that we need to, through our skill and our teaching and our program and whatever we do, bring people to a new understanding. So they come to a new understanding going, I thought I needed this, but now I realize this is what I needed. And that's when magic happens. That's when magic happens. And sometimes it's a matter of sequencing as well. So we want to, some people will say it this way, sell people what they want and then give them what they need. Now, why is the value in there? What's the value component? Why that word? Why that part? Why that question? Because it lets us know what the priorities are. It lets us know where the focus is. It also lets us know whether we're in sync and whether we can be working with this person. It gives us a hint as to whether this is the type of client that we would want to work with. So I'll give you a little quick example of that. If Jamie and I are talking to somebody very early on, it becomes apparent that their number one goal is making money. And they could care less how they do it. The values start to conflict. And we typically back out at that point. We always back out at that point because we can't give you what you want, because we're not about, money being the priority one and that everything else is going to work once you have the money. It's not, life isn't that way. So there's a values conflict. So we typically will find that out in that process once we understand. So it's all about, oh, I want to get a Maserati, and then I want to get a yacht, and I want to travel the world, and I'll make this a male, and I want, chicks on each arm and bikinis, different ones every week. We're backing out real quick. But there's a lot of people like that. So understanding their values is really important so that there's a sync there. Doesn't mean we have to have the same values exactly, but it means they have to be somewhat aligned. So need, want, and value. Ask the questions, stay in control of the conversation by asking the questions and understanding what somebody needs, wants, and values. Now, a question for you. I've talked a lot. And there's actually a lot embedded in what I said and what Kaylee and I went through there. What are your takeaways from this? Tell me if there were aha moments for you. Go ahead and pop that in the chat, everyone on the call.
Yeah,
You can
I wanted to
let us
comment
know.
too.
Give me some feedback. Yeah.
Okay, Kaylee says care first. That's a good takeaway. Yeah, it's a really good one. Delee had said earlier, and this kind of also relates, she said she became passionate about what she wanted to share. And Sheena says, make sure to get to know your specific audience. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And can you see how this can help you even understand and develop that minimum viable audience? Because if instead of trying to push ourselves on somebody or information on somebody, if instead we just start asking these questions, it's going to become very apparent to us whether our audience is the right size, the right shape, the right type of people that we need to be talking to. It'll become very apparent. Ask that amongst 10 people, and you'll find that, whoa, I'm all over the map here. I don't know how to even address all of these different things that are coming up. Or you might go, wow, there's commonality here. Very similar. The response here, 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 here. I'm on the right path. I'm in the right market, if you will. I'm understanding my audience in a way that is going to work for them. The other thing is in terms of delivery. Your job is to present and provide a solution to their problems. So if you have a variety of problems, you can't be everything to everyone. You can't solve everybody's problem. You have to be really focused on something. And the only way to do that is to be focused on someone, a particular type of person that you want to work with.
Yeah, Sheena says to focus on the psychographics of your audience. Psychographics
Yes.
as well. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, just to put this in context, and again, this is that idea of understanding what you need and what you want. This is what we try and do, is contextually say, okay, this whole idea of how to converse with prospects, how to make sales, how to enroll people in my program is not number one. A lot of people come to us saying that's all I need, right? Because it's the first thing we think of, right? Like even Kaylee said, I need to know who my audience is and I need clients, right? I need to know who my audience is and I want clients. But here's the reality. That is the almost the outcome. There's a lot more foundational work, like identifying and clarifying and really going deep into the minimum viable audience so that we know how we're going to solve their problems. So we know the language they speak. And then we know what to talk about so that we can be consistently visible on the right topics in the right way, in the right places, so that then we're in a position to actually attract that audience. to get to what we need, to get what we want. So contextually, you can see how this is a real example of how easy it is to think we need something when really what we need is different. And that once we uncover what we really need, it'll help us get there. And as promised, the gift that we have for you here today is a little bit of an exercise book. And it's an excerpt. It's a portion of a deeper, heavier exercise that we do with our clients, but it's a really good primer that'll help you start to go through this workbook and answer some questions and really start to get an understanding of who your ideal client is. So that's our giveaway for you. If your client's on the call, you've already got this. You've got a more robust book type version of this. But this workbook, this booklet, if you will, is our gift today. And I know you're going to love it. So please just type ICA, if you will, ideal client avatar or something to that effect. If you type that in the chat, we'll make sure that we get a copy of that to you. We will send you a PDF of this. So just type ICA or ideal client or workbook or something to that effect in the chat. And as I often mention too, at the beginning or at different times in the program, we recognize that a number of people will, probably more people over the coming weeks, will be watching this after and not live. So if you are watching this and this is a recorded version or on our group or somewhere, know that we're always monitoring the comments section as we need to as professionals. So you can go ahead and put that in the comments section and we'll make sure we get that to you even at a future date. So please know that this is not static and this is not a one-off, that we're always here to serve you and to monitor these things. So that concludes our learning lesson today. And I want to just invite you and put this out there that if you're ready to implement a proven step-by-step method for creating a coaching business that earns you a full-time income, an exceptional full-time income, doing what you love without being stressed, overwhelmed, or simply bogged down doing things that aren't getting you the results that you really want, then book a time to chat with us. We'd love to talk with you. And you can go to upscaleyourbusiness.com/game-plan. And if you can't get to that link right now or you want to do it later, just put learn more. If you want to throw this monkey back on our shoulders, just put learn more in the chat and we'll reach out to you and we'll send you a calendar link and we'll get that figured out where we can talk. And much like the topic today, this is what you sees is what you gets. This is the kind of conversation we'll have. We're going to find out what you need, what you want, what you value. And we're going to see if anything that we have to offer, what we do can help you get there. And help you get there faster and easier and in a more economical and a more efficient way. And that'll be the goal of our visit together. And to see maybe there's just some little pieces that are missing or some switches that you need to flip. If we uncover those, we'll let you know about that too. So just want to invite you for there. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, feel free to open your mics, any
Feel
of you,
free.
clients, guests, and Mark, maybe you want to stop your share so we can.
Yeah, one thing I do want to do, I don't know if I have this on the share, on the link on here or not. I do. But one of the things I would ask you before anybody leaves, if they're thinking of leaving at this point, and we would love your feedback. So please, I think it's probably in the comments or chat section as well. A link is there that you can just click on. But please give us your feedback. Let us know what you got out of this. The other reason for giving feedback too is we ask you a few very simple questions that will help integrate this learning even further. So that you can make a few notes and answer a few questions there. So it gives us feedback. It's a win-win concept here. So please go to upscaleyourbusiness.com/training_feedback or click the link that's in the.
I got to put it in the chat. Give me a sec. Yeah, go ahead.
And then I will stop sharing, but I'll leave that here for a moment, just in case we need that.
Now I'm putting it in the chat right now. Okay, there we go. Oh, you got it. Thanks, Mark.
Beat you to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So comments, questions, thoughts, ideas, anything before we transition to.
Deline, did you have any questions or anything you wanted to add or ask?
No, I really enjoyed. Thank you for having me here today and inviting me. This
Yeah.
gave me a really good insight after our visit the other day. So, yeah, I'm excited to continue to look into this. Thank you.
Great.
Wonderful. We're so glad you could make it today. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. Well,
Good.
Dilly, thank you so much for joining us. And I certainly look forward to catching up with you, perhaps on a one-on-one call if you want to go a little deeper. I believe Jamie has already visited
Yeah,
with you once,
we
so
We have.
please reach out and know that it would be an absolute pleasure to talk to you and kind of go through some of your needs, wants, and values and see if I can give you any insights into moving closer in that direction to what you really want.
Awesome.
Okay.
Sounds great. I
All
am
right.
going to have to pop off. Thanks for having me here.
Sure
Thank
thing.
you. And be sure to